Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to some more Heroes of the Storm. Today we find ourselves on the Dragon Shire with the new hero in the game. We're gonna be playing with Xul. In this video, I'm gonna try my very best to explain the hero as well as showcase you some hopefully stellar gameplay. So he came out earlier today. I've been playing him pretty much non-stop for all the time that I had available today, and I think I currently have roughly about 10 or so games on him logged. The queue time's taking forever if you're playing with a new hero on the release date, but we should be good to go here. So did I already say Gila Chef? I more than likely did. So we're currently queued up in a 5-man team with Xul, Johanna, Lunara, Uther, and Sergeant Hammer, and we're up against another team as well. That is a pretty solid setup too. So what's the basic idea of this hero? What's the basic idea? We're the Necromancer from Diablo 2. If you played in Diablo 2, you may remember this dude. I am basically all about reanimating the dead. And we're actually up against another Xul here, which is going to be a little interesting. But basically what happens is that as soon as I kill these little minions that, you know, spawn in every single lane, obviously this is a 3-lane map, some of those will start fighting in favor of us. So you see those little two dudes right there? Those are fighting in favor of me. And those actually are the result of, you know, me killing some of their minions. So right here you can see, like, we're getting a lot of damage out of that. And all of a sudden 4 of those start walking with me. Now the one thing, and apparently the Sergeant Hammer just died. The one thing to keep in mind about that is that I can only have 4 active at a time right now. Minus my level 4 talent, but we're gonna try and up that in this particular game to, you know, a lot more. We're gonna try and get up to like, what's the maximum? We can do 6 plus 2, I think. So we can get like 8 of those minions out in time. Just because that, you know, will increase the amount we get. Now, beautiful little gank here by my teammate. I'll go over the abilities that we got next, because those do help us a lot in cleaning up those fights. So first off, we got this, like, sight thing. It's called Spectral Sight. Fine. I was gonna call it, like, Spirit Sight. Close enough. Spectral Sight is basically a sight that I can position just like that, and after a second or so, it returns towards me. Really powerful ability, obviously, because it causes my attacks, my basic attack to do a lot of additional damage. Now, sadly, don't think I'm gonna be able to hold on to this one. Trying my very best, but no, not quite gonna be able to get it. Especially not with their Xul coming back up. But that's the first ability. It does a lot of damage, in particular in team fights, and you can specialize in it really easily by focusing a lot of your talents on it. Now, in this particular case, I'm not gonna try and do so. We'll go over the talent selection in a bit, by the way. Because in this particular game, I'm trying to focus on, like, getting as many little dudes out as possible. We're still obviously focusing on some hero damage, but I'm primarily trying to, you know, get some of the little dudes going with me and, you know, specializing in exactly that. Q, nice. Very good move, but sadly they did manage to get the Dragon Knight for it. I'm gonna go ahead actually and just push for a little bit longer while we are, you know, obviously in trouble a little. But the first Dragon Knight isn't all that terrifying. Anyways. Second ability that I got is going to be this massive swing around me. And that massive swing is really sick because it allows me to clean up minion waves with ease. Don't want to get kicked. Do not want to get kicked. Alright, you can kick me now. That's fine. I didn't want to get kicked over there. Wow, great usage actually right there by Johanna. But that ability is used to clean up minion waves really quickly and to deal area of effect damage to practically everything in the game. Last ability that I got is going to be the E1 for the moment, and actually no, the second to last ability that we got is going to be the E, and the E ability basically is called Bone Prison, and I activate it on a hero, and what happens is once that hero actually, you know, stands there for just a little bit, they will take a little bit of damage, but they will also be actually rooted in place for, I believe, 2 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2 seconds. So basically, it's like a weaker version, so to say, of the ability that, for example, Nazebo has. But as you can see, like, it's a targetable ability there, or like a targetable ability there, which means that you can actually activate it whenever you kind of please, and it always works out. As far as the talents go that we got, actually, no, I got one more ability. I got my my one ability here as well, Bone Armor, and there's actually, I believe, only Rexar in the game that also has something like that. And Rexar can obviously, like, control Misha with it. However, this hero can get some additional little bit of sustain from it. So that armor I can activate to basically give myself a little bit of extra life. And it's actually 25% of my maximum, which is a lot. Oftentimes like that is gonna like make the difference between dying and actually staying alive. And last but not least, we also get to pick a talent for it in the very first moment of the game. So the very first talent we get is going to be Shade. And Shade will allow us to not just get a little bit of additional sustain in the form of like extra health, but it will also allow us to get a bit of an extra damage removal from our opponents when they do a basic attack. So it's a really nice little extra bit of sustain. The other talent options are going to be pretty great too. I can go over those in some later video, but this one seems to be the strongest all-round one. And I'm going to be heading back just for a little bit, just because I do need some extra sustain. So those are the abilities that I got, and those are like, you know, the ones that you start off with. As far as the ultimates go, we got two really powerful ones, but I'm going to be picking the most damage heavy one that I think is, you know, a little bit better when you're playing quick match. Anyways, so for the first talent, I went with Shade. Really cool because it allows us to get reduced damage from basic attacks whenever we activate our one ability. Then our second ability is called Jailers, and Jailers basically makes it so that whenever I activate my E ability on one of the enemies, just like that, they will actually not only be rooted in place and take damage, but also spawn two additional little skeletons. And that obviously is not going to be counting towards the total of 4 that we can have. So we can actually have more than 4 up in time at the same time when we have that skill. Then we also have at level 7 the capability right now to get some little bit of additional healing whenever I spawn one of those skeletons. So really cool. We're gonna go for the Poison Nova. Poison Nova is very good at like cleaning up large groups of enemies. It deals damage to everyone around me, and it basically like travels around me in this like wave type form. You'll see it in just a bit once we have a bit more of a team fight going on. Particularly late game, it can start whooping out a ton of damage. I'm gonna be heading down to the bottom lane right now. Looks like there's gonna be a bit of a team fight here, so we may very well activate it. You'll see what I mean with it. So I'm gonna activate it right now. Poof. So basically, you can see that hero right there is going to be affected by it. And what happens is they take increased damage. That was a pretty good one. But they take damage over time. Over the course of like 10 seconds, they take a lot of damage. And oftentimes, all of the enemy team is going to be affected by that, which means that it gives you a ton of additional strength. Now, you can also go for the Skeletal Mages, which arguably are probably the stronger option. I mean, they're probably the stronger option just because they actually will give you... Oh my god. They're probably the stronger option because they give you more utility. You know, I like the little one that we got right now. It's just a little too much fun to not go for. Okay, so sadly there's a lot of fighting going on, but we didn't have the Dragon Knight yet. I'm gonna have to back up as well now that I'm out of mana. But yeah, that's the basic idea. We can also go for the Skeletal Mages, like I mentioned, and those are basically like 4 mages that you put down. And what happens is that they will start slowing down the enemies on top of actually dealing damage to them as well. And oftentimes you can use that for like zoning people away. But anyways, we got the Poison Nova here just because it's much easier to do and play at the same time when you are trying to do it. And, you know, the ability is still really powerful. Now, as far as build diversity goes... As far as build diversity goes on this hero, there seem to be a ton of viable options. I really like that because oftentimes on certain heroes it's hard to say whether or not... you know, the build that you're doing is actually going to be useful in the long run. We're waiting for Uther, by the way. But on this one, there seems to be a ton of different options. Anyway, ultimate time. All of them going to be affected by it. Now, sadly, I am getting targeted here by the ultimate. Does look like I'm going to be staying alive for the moment. I'm extremely low in health. Whew. Alright, we're good. We're good. But yeah, there's a lot of build diversity. So right now we're focusing on skeletons, but I've seen builds where people, for example, focus on hitting up this Q ability instead, where they focus on that sight and make him a lot more of an assassin. And pretty much everyone that I've talked to seems to be running a different build, which is a great sign of the hero, because a lot of them do seem to be completely viable. Whereas, like, you know, on many other heroes, it's sort of like cut clean and cut dry which ones you should be going for. Gonna be going with the Corpse Explosion level 13, which basically makes it so that every single time something, or one of my skeletons times out or gets killed, it actually explodes, dealing a little bit of area of effect damage. And then also, and that's by the way great on this map obviously, because a lot of the fights happen in lanes. And then also we went for, in a little bit, we're gonna go for Skeleton Mastery at level 16. That allows me to get even more skeletons out and allows them to deal 100% additional damage, which is really sick obviously. I'm gonna go ahead and actually just push. I think we should be fine here. And if I can get some additional, you know, XP in for the team, that will help us out a lot. I want to try and get to level 16 as soon as possible, because our team does benefit a lot from that. So there we go. Like you can see, I can single-handedly take out a massive amount of you know, minions in just a matter of seconds. And we can also then start pushing really aggressively. Because, hey, you know, the waves will keep on running in, and you know, we can take out this fort right now. Now, I do wanna move over there. I've actually kind of been slacking here. Probably a poor decision making on my end. But anyways, so looks like so far we have managed to do quite a lot of damage, as well as do a lot of siege damage. Hero damage wise, you're never really gonna be topping it or whatever. Like, that's not really the goal either. The goal here is to make sure that we, you know, are being a nuisance to the enemy team. Ooh, gotta be careful. And that we obviously, like, you know, have this strength at pushing lanes in and whatnot. Okay, very good. I'm gonna be backing up real quick just because I do need some extra mana. We killed the fort in the top lane. Minions were still pushing, and we can go ahead and go push in the middle fort as well. So you can see, like, if Xul is left alone for just like a split second, all of a sudden the lane is going to be completely turned around, and you know, he becomes like this force to be reckoned with on his own, and someone needs to deal with that, right? And that is obviously because I did spec into it a bunch as well, but it can actually happen rather easily with pretty much all heroes. Now that's probably a fake one. But there's not really a hero in the game that can lane as strongly in like a matter of seconds as Xul, I would say. Like, there's other heroes that are much better at like sustained laning, I suppose. That's gonna be, for example, like a Zagara. Zagara's really good at that. Do we really need to back up? I think we're fine here. So right now we can go ahead and get up to 5 skeletons out, and more importantly, they now do 100% additional damage, which is a lot. So keep is definitely gonna start up falling. Looks like we even managed to keep that fort alive in the top lane, which is kind of unexpected, really. But it's all good. It's all good. Do we really want to do this? I don't think we want to do this, but we are very far ahead as far as level goes right now, so I am all for this. I am all for this. Now at level 20, I didn't know if we're gonna reach that in this particular game, but at level 20, I've been having a toss-up between Call of the Grave, which just simply makes my heroic more powerful, as well as Mortal Wound, as well as Bone Spear. And Bone Spear is kind of a cool ability. It's like this spear that you can throw forward in a line, and what happens is that it pierces through everything, which obviously means that if used correctly, it can like, you know, pick off heroes, for example, that are trying to run away, or pick off heroes that are trying to just you know, just a little bit of additional damage, really, and it's only gonna be a little bit of a cost. It's a very cheap ability. It doesn't cost any mana, but the cooldown on it is relatively, well, I guess you could say cheap as well, where it's like, I believe 10 seconds? Yeah, 10 seconds right there. Alright, time to start pushing in the lane again. Time to get some minions fighting for us. So top lane is gonna start falling here, but that's all good, because this fort is not gonna stay alive for very long whatsoever. Now, as far as sustainability goes, we are actually pretty tanky. We're not nearly as flimsy as some of the other heroes that are out there in the game. Like, if you compare it to, for example, Li Ming, she seems to be taking one hit and she's dead. And, you know, if you compare it to, like, for example, it's hard to come up with an example, but I would probably consider myself, you know, somewhere between, like, an Artanis and, for example, Li Ming. Like, it's just somewhere in the middle of them, you know? Really powerful hero and really high in sustain as well. Once again, Poison Nova. Try and keep these dudes as damaged as possible. Well, it looks like I'm gonna need to run at least, but really cool. Really, really strong. And I guess this may very well be the victory. So if you have any additional questions about Xul, please let me know right below the like button. It's not quite game over yet though, but either way, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm gonna try my very best to answer each and every question that we got. Because honestly, I think this hero could easily become one of my absolute favorites, and he also has one of the sickest master skins in the game. Like, honestly, one of the absolute sickest master skins. Way better than many of the other ones. Now, because we do need minions, by the way, to like clean up these things and like clean up, you know, a lot of the damage. On maps that have 2 lanes, and for example on like mercenary camps, we kind of suck. I mean, I can't use my E ability on this because we need to target that on heroes. I can't really like get any of the skeletons spawned over there. So that sort of like makes it a little more of a risky hero and like a risky pick, I suppose. Because if you we could have killed that easy. But if we are on a 3-player map, we're in a great position. If we're on a 2-player map though, things get a little more tricky. Now we are just simply pushing ahead here. I am a little low, so I don't really want to fall. Alright. We're almost level 20 though. We're almost level 20. He actually did get the extended range down the Q. Did you see that? Like that's a huge throw. Anyways, if you're interested in the build that I am playing here, where we focus on getting a ton of skeletons and the skeleton mastery, I will put that as the very first, you know, as the very first set of skills down below the like button in the description of this video, because it looks to be that this is going to be game. Absolutely dominated the opposing team. Very, very powerful game, and we managed to do 34,000 hero damage with 138,000 siege as well. So if you have any questions, like I said, let me know down below. And other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, and I'll see you in the next one. Boo!